We'll make sure you stay awake, right?
Yeah.
And March. July time is time.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's ready when you're ready.
He's ready when we're ready.
No, that stuff will kill you. Yeah.
1 year.
But look at you, you're only 19. or-
So this below zero up here, so it's gotta be better.
Yeah.
that.
He never said anything. I promise that.
Bicep.
He said Jim Ross.
Chances
His
vibrate.
mom. Oh, really?
That's the very first one.
It was. I guess there's somewhere. Slippery slope.
Do you want to have if it was a beat, and then it's probably. I didn't recognize.
Okay, let's get this thing started. Let's start with the pledge, huh? Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, everyone. Bright, sunshiny day, huh? I guess probably the best thing to do to begin with is just go around the room and do introductions quickly for those that might not know other folks. I'm Mike Kirschner, I'm a commissioner.
Holly Stacy, Commissioner.
Shane Thomas, Commissioner.
Go ahead, Ron.
Ron Craig, Review Times.
I'm Mark Mack with New Rego EMS.
Mary Havey with SCAT.
Elizabeth Rickard with SCAT.
I'm Seth Weber with the Advertiser Tribune.
Ken Major, Seneca County EMS.
Marty Chambers, Bloomville EMS. Bill Epplebury, Sheriff's Office.
Ben Nutter, resident.
Jim Klaus, Hopewell Township.
Tim Lynch, Liberty Township.
Kevin Reinhardt, Loudon Township.
Greg Walker, Clinton Township.
Brett Cleveland, Adams Township.
Danny Gabauer, Seneca County EMS.
Chuck Miller, Reed Township.
Bill Frankert, Adams Township.
Jason Burkholder, Scipio Township.
Well, last time we met, welcome everyone, first of all. Last time we met, I think that there was some confusion as to what our thoughts were regarding volunteers. I know there were some comments made that the average age of volunteers is getting older, and it's more difficult to find volunteers, et cetera. And that somehow got convoluted into saying that we somehow don't appreciate those folks. I just want to make certain that we make a statement, a very solid statement, that we're not only appreciate them, but we're inspired by the number of folks that volunteer in the county, especially those that do the work of the EMS. So I want to say personally, I know on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I know the feeling is all the same, that we certainly appreciate the volunteer hours and the expertise and the number of lives that have been saved over the years by those folks that volunteer for the EMS. And we can't offer enough appreciation to those people. I just think that needs to be said. It needs to be said out loud. We have a lot of volunteers across the county who do a lot of things, but this certainly is the most important. So, having said that, I think that how we'll start is, Ken, I guess be a simple way to do it is to talk about how many districts we have, what's the current status of the EMS system right now in across Seneca County.
Okay. In 2013, I started here, and with the express purpose set by the board and by a affirmative vote to move forward with joint ambulance districts, and that's exactly what we did. So we've currently got 4 working on the 5th, and the plan is progressing just as we put it together in 2013, and I think it's moving along well. I'm interested to hear what everyone else has to say. I think people have heard me talk probably way too much. So that's how I feel about it. We've got 4 working on the 5th, and it's going well. It's going just like we planned.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, anything else you want to add to the agenda here as you look at it? Anything else we need to do?
No, the only thing I would suggest is if anyone speaks, if they can say their name prior to speaking and where they're from, because by the nature of the way we record, it faces us, and just so we can preserve that record in this open meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Okay, well, I think that the gist of all this is there has been some conversation about the current status of the EMS district across, or the EMS services across the county. I have had conversations with a number of trustees who have said we need to move a countywide system along more quickly than we had thought. The plan, as we've iterated here on more than one occasion, is that eventually we would have a countywide system. You know, it's gonna take tax money, and it's gonna take a period of time to get to that point. So, the question is, the outstanding question is, how anxious are we as a county to get to a countywide system, a paid system? Or are the townships split, or are happy with the system that they have in place at this point in time and see no need to go further with anything other than joint ambulance districts that we have? Or are there other solutions or other discussion topics that you want to have regarding EMS? So, the goal at some point in the future is to hopefully have a countywide ambulance service. The present status is that we couldn't afford one, even if we wanted one, and that the development of joint ambulance districts have been the pattern that's been developed over the last few years. So, with that, I will open it for discussion, please.
Sir?
Yes.
You keep saying a countywide system. We have a countywide system now.
Okay. Well, we're talking about, I think the thing that we're talking about now is a countywide paid system.
Yeah, but you refer to it as a countywide system. We do have a countywide system.
Okay. I agree with you. There is a system in the county at this point that is run by our director that is countywide, yes. The differentiation would be a different configuration of where the units are, and of the fact that the people in those units are paid on a full-time basis. That's the ultimate goal.
It takes ultimate money.
Yeah, no question about that. That's what we're trying to do, is to figure out what type of an appetite there is to stay where we're at or to move forward. That's the purpose of the meeting. Yeah.
Brett Cleveland, Adams Township. I thought the whole purpose of this was to gather information. That's what we had in this last meeting. He was gonna have a select group of people, and we was gonna gather information. I don't know where you've come up with the $2.5 million. I'm guessing that's off of Sandusky counties.
First of all, I never said $2.5 million.
Yes, you did. You said it numerous times.
Tonight?
The system would cost $2.5 million.
I don't have any idea what system would cost.
That's what you said. It was even in the paper.
Okay. As you said, Sandusky County system is somewhere in the range of $2.5 million. Well, I have no idea what ours would cost.
You don't know if a private people can come in here and do it for a lot less.
I don't.
That's what this whole purpose of this meeting was to gather information. You were supposed to have you wasn't supposed to have such a big group of people. You were supposed to have people from each ambulance district and sit down and go through.
I did not do the inviting except for our current EMS director. I asked that the townships have some representatives here, and that it became a public meeting. And there, you know, when it's a public meeting, Brent, I can't control who's here.
Why did it become a public meeting?
Because it was so requested to be a public meeting, because the commissioners are all here, and more than one trustee.
But there's no decisions being made, so it didn't need to be a public meeting.
Yeah, I guess that's up for debate. I really, you know, I don't understand the tension, I don't understand the concern here. You know, we're here to gather information or to talk about what we need to do going forward. I don't get the animosity here. I don't really get the follow.
I'm not, I'm just asking, in our last meeting, it was just supposed to be a group of people, a small group of people to get together and talk about what we needed to do, whether it's nothing or moving on.
But during that meeting, we also made it clear that it was gonna be a public meeting.
No, it wasn't.
Tim?
Yeah, you did. This is Tim Lynch, and I did a little research, since he was talking about getting some information. And I talked with Crawford County. Now, Crawford County They have 16 townships. 14 of those townships are part of the countywide ambulance system as with a private ambulance system. And I got their yearly report right here. And one of the things that they have that makes theirs go is that Bucyrus City is part of that. And the maximum, you know, they in 2016 they had just short of 2,000 calls, and the townships probably didn't come close to that. And so, although they said that this year they had enough calls, see, they I don't know if they give a report of what each one paid, but they said this year they didn't have to subsidize the ambulance service because Bucyrus had enough people that they covered the cost of the next year's contract.
Does it say, Tim, what their total budget was?
Let me see if I didn't, I'm not sure whether they did or not.
Basically, Bill Frankert, Adams Township, when we was looking at you know, the avenue to look at our end of the county, talking with Crawford, basically they bid theirs out, and they've been successful in having it bid out without having to compensate because of the run volume encumbered into the county there. I'm not 100% sure if that includes Bucyrus or not. Tim checked on that, you know, take his word for that part of them, but that's an entity they do contract with a private entity, so that is one of
Yeah,
them.
that did include Bucyrus City.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
Okay, any other data, Tim?
No, I didn't get any, they didn't send me any money figures. He just gave me the annual report there. Of course, I guess they wouldn't have any money figures.
if it was bid for zero,
Yeah.
because basically if you contract with, and then they provide the ambulance, the personnel, liability, and the whole, you know, coverage on that.
And they did have to supply, I think they had to have housing.
Right.
The ambulance, that county ambulance district had to provide housing.
Okay.
And like I said, because of the fact that they had Bucyrus as part of that, I know that Seneca County in the past has tried private ambulances. I think ProMedica, LifeStar, and maybe Stoffcheck and a couple of that ambulances, but for some reason they weren't able to, you know, maintain enough volume of calls or whatever that, you know, they didn't last long. So I
think Stoffcheck, Bill Frankert again, Adams Township, I think that was the last company that was in here, and that was kind of had some, from what I gathered, it's before my time, but they ended up leaving and more financial issues and stuff with that. ProMedica, to my knowledge, was never in Seneca County, or I'm not sure about the other company, but
LifeStar.
LifeStar, not.
Some of those were pretty early.
Right.
Yeah. Goebbels. And Goebbels, I forgot about that.
Well, thanks for that. As we have said a number of times, our purpose and our only purpose as this board is to make certain that we get to somebody that needs us in a timely fashion, and whatever mechanism that takes to get done most efficiently, that's what we will support within the fiscal responsibility. So what we're trying to do is determine what is that best method. And we certainly ought to have an information gathering session here if there is other information out there, or if people want us to explore what other alternatives we have than the one that currently exists, or say that we don't want to explore anything else, that we are happy with what we have now, and We just need to continue to support that. There is no bias here about which way to go. Yeah, Tim.
And this is the last time I'm going to talk. I think that in conversations with some of the other people in this room, they expressed the fact that, you know, we have probably one of the, you know, the best equipped ambulance, top of the line ambulances, top of the line, you know, maintenance and all that sort of thing, and the housing, but our personnel is what's, you know, is the problem, which is really our only problem. I don't know, I know that townships only have one way of getting money, and that's through property tax. We don't have the sanction, you know, of having an income tax. We can't levy a sales tax, and so most of us have, you know, running pretty close to our 10 mil limit too. So, you know, I don't know if it's even possible to make up a hybrid between, you know, having the county ambulances that we have now and paid personnel. I know that we could not, at our JLB, we could not afford to even hire a couple of part-time EMS people, because, you know, you're going to have a cost of $12 to $14 an hour, and then you're going to have, you know, they're going to have to be pay PERS and workman's comp, and probably, you know, I don't know some of the other things that's with that, and billing. I don't know how who does the billing for you guys?
North Central.
North Central does the billing? Okay, so so that would, you know, probably wouldn't be a cost factor there, but you know, still have to have, you know, a cost in the building. So and really that's not one of our would even be one of our biggest costs. Whether we, you know, I don't know how we would approach trying to maybe even form a hybrid system, even if there's any such animal in the state of Ohio. I don't know. I know Sandusky County, I think Sandusky Township, they have their own ambulance service, but then they also have the county EMS service. So, and I've not talked to anybody in Sandusky County at this point, but I just happen to know the guy in Crawford County. He's on our board, and he gave me this information at our county or our state convention.
I appreciate the more information we have, the better off we are. I guess at this point, let's start in the back. Anybody that wants to say anything or has an opinion as to if they feel comfortable with the current EMS situation throughout the county, or whether they'd like to discuss doing something differently. I mean, I want to give everybody the chance to at least express their opinion or their thoughts as it relates to what they do. So,
and for the benefit of the press, who may not understand the history of this, and that there is different forms in different townships, I think it would be nice if you say, you know, this is where we've been. Like, right, you've got a unique situation where you just changed your situation, and you know, I think that's important to illuminate that we are kind of in a hybrid situation right now, and you know, different townships are doing different things. That's the remarkable fact about this, is it's very different across the county. So if you know, I would like to hear everybody speak, and for the benefit of the press, I'd like you to say, you know, what you're doing and what weaknesses you're finding now, either in response time, or, you know, the financial burden on the township, or the manpower. You know, I'd like to identify what the actual the weaknesses are in your system right now. So, can we do that?
sure. Start in the back there, young man, if you don't mind.
Jason Burkholder, Scipio Township. Well, if we could keep a volunteer system, that would be great, but I think at the last meeting, we probably figured out that it was probably gonna end up going for a paid system. Right now, we're in the middle of a transition into a district with Bloom Township and the city of Bloom, or the village of Bloomville and the village of Republic. I believe our biggest problem is probably gonna be manpower.
Do you have any stats on how many days you're out of service?
Not with me, but.
Yeah, I mean,
We do we're out quite a bit.
and what is the township putting into that? Do you know, from a financial standpoint?
I guess I don't know that offhand.
Yeah, are you contributing anything? I mean, is there a line item?
Just manpower, I think
Yeah.
the county takes care of the and everything. But I would say we just had a EMT pass away and one resigned last night, so we're down 2 people now.
So in Scipio Republic, we have how many volunteers, you estimate?
Let's see, we had 14 that were full, or on the roster, but we only have 4 or 5 that were running all the time. One of them just passed away, so we're down to about 4. Many of them can't run during the day either.
Understandable.
Mr. Nutter, yes.
Just quick question, what's your understanding of how the county EMS system is funded now? I mean, from the commissioner's standpoint, how do we pay for our EMS?
I guess it just, how do I let you, I mean, we've talked about it, equipment versus personnel, but go ahead.
Right, yeah, we provide, and Ken, jump in here whenever you need to, correct me, but we provide the equipment, training, do the reimbursement for the training.
From what, though? The commissioners pay for that through what?
The general fund. So
Probably
equipment, training,
not.
supplies is what the county pays.
Right, but not from the general fund though, right? Unless that,
No. There's $330,000 that comes from billing charges, and what we use for EMS billing that comes in. It's an average of $300,000 to $330,000, depending on run volume. And then we,
wait, say that again?
300 to 330,000 comes from run volume.
So you're billing of runs?
Yes, absolutely. From
Okay.
from the service that we provide, we bill and we contract with a company to do our billing.
Right.
And we get our intake from that is about $330,000.
Okay.
Then we apply for any grant that comes down the pike. This past year, we applied for and received $330,000 grant from the Department of Administrative Services, and we depend heavily on grants. And this year, we began a full-time Echo Unit program, which is funded from the general fund. And the actual total tally of that escapes me, but I can look over to the county administrator, and she can probably help me.
Total we give out of our, and I think maybe what Ben's getting at, we used to have the LaGraph formula, the state used to set aside some
Right.
funds specifically out of our local government funding. It was called the LaGraph formula.
Local
They did
government assistance.
away with that. So currently, all the general fund that comes out is, we've always said it was local government funded money, but it's general fund money, since they did away from the local government revenue assistance fund.
I knew you were getting somewhere, Ben, but I didn't know about
Well,
that.
what I was trying to understand is, I mean, I want to make sure that everyone understands that what the townships provide has typically been housing / manpower. And what the county has provided, and in the past, it was stipulated under LaGraph, which is Local Government Revenue Assistance Fund, and they changed the wording, but in essence, the money from state sales tax flowed back down through to the county, and then that was distributed to EMA, EMS to buy equipment and those types of things.
Yep.
And so the townships, it piqued my interest when you asked, or Shane, I think you asked, Commissioner, I apologize, what does monetarily, what does the townships, and I just wondered, had that changed? Do the townships specifically contribute monetary funds towards EMS?
The overall concept is still the same, you know, that we supply all the equipment, narcotics, et cetera, and the township supply the housing and the manpower.
And in return, the county gets to bill then for those services provided and recoup that revenue, whatever that may be.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Bill? You're next.
Bill Frankert, Adams Township. So, Tim was talking about a hybrid approach and, through the Adams, Green Springs, Pleasant, I don't know, call it district, but through our EMS that we've changed, one of the items we talked to Ken about was, having, for example, and I'm just gonna, a North Central or somebody like that provide labor to operate their equipment, and basically he would not let that happen. So basically the next, and with our out of service time being 70 to 80% of the time, so the next thing, after looking at all the different avenues and meeting with several entities, we put it out to bid for a private service to come in, and North Central EMS put the bid in, and they did receive the contract on that. So with North Central, basically, they take, and we meet with them on a quarterly basis, they provide, all the run volume, what's basically happening there. They assume all liability, and you don't have to have the district, you don't have to do the billing, they take care of that among themselves. But like I say, it's not a cheap program, but it is a program. Now we have 24/7 coverage. The last report, they leave the building within a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I think the average run time till they get to the scene is 4.5 minutes. So on that aspect of it, we're ecstatic by moving in that direction. Again, the other avenue too that was that Seneca County was wanting to stop in Green Springs at the traffic light. You let the north half go. So with this system here, the whole village of Green Springs plus the townships are covered with that part of it. So.
What's the financial impact to the township?
So basically, we put a levy on, so, our share is, basically $105,000 or $6,000 for that. Village of Green Springs, I don't have those numbers, what the other ones are, but I can tell you about Adams Township.
And does the levy cover the full impact?
Certainly, well, for our share.
For your
yes.
share?
Yes.
So none of that comes out of your general funds?
Correct. Right, that was a levy that we had passed, to make that happen, to get the coverage that we needed. We was actually in, was one of the higher run volumes in the county down there with, since we have a nursing home, a
Right.
school, and other stuff down there too, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chuck Miller, Reed Township, and AVR EMS district. It's about a year old now. We have probably close to 90% coverage for the whole year with 10 volunteers, paid volunteers. We've got another one taking classes. Basically, we've got a good system going. We've got a good director. It's costing the 2 townships and the village of Attica. Our levy raises about 93, I think, to 96,000. We've probably got 25,000 left over per year so far. It's only a year old. We're doing well. We could always do better. The North Central thing, we've already had to make 2 runs into Thompson Township to cover North Central's behind when they could not get there. So I don't know how that, we're a mutual aid, but I'm paying for North Central to get there.
And we're paying to have them come into your area too, because mutual aid is basically covered if one is, and most generally if North Central's on another run, that's where it comes in.
Correct.
Some of the situation that's happening is that, as we get, and I don't want to pick on the Scipio Republic or anything, but with them being out of service, North Central's one that's being dispatched that way too, so we've been up helping there. And yes, they've come our way because we've been on another run in our district. So, yeah, it's not an out of service thing with North Central, it's being on another run, and that's where your mutual aid contracts come into work on that, so. Yeah, that's, yeah, as it would if it was Green Springs, and, you know, if it was back in the old days, if they were on a run, you'd be in there too, or, you know, with that aspect of it. But that, actually, Thompson's got their own deal with the city of Bellevue through, they actually contract with the fire department of Bellevue, and then I think North Central's contracted with them or whatever on that part of it. And I don't think they have a direct contract with North Central, part of that, but it's just if the fire's called, they come out then, because I think they're still part of the county program, Ken, and my.
Thompson Township is not.
It's not, they're tied in with, through the fire, agreement down with Bellevue.
Yes, Ben?
Ben, another just resident, but I wanted to ask Bill, so does North Central guarantee you one squad for an emergency call, or is it?
Yeah, basically what they've done.
So if they're not on an emergency call, they're available.
They're, yeah, exactly, they're there 24/7, yeah, 365, unless they're on a call in the.
Some type of other emergency call, not
just
like
out.
a transport.
Exactly, right, because that's one of the things through
They're not
this
allowed to.
process that we call a lot of grief on, that, oh, they're gonna be out doing transports, and they have not. We actually utilized the Crawford County contract, and then had it kind of rewritten. It's a heck of a contract and stuff that they put, and has a lot of teeth in there, so that way they're there, they're not out doing transports or anything like that, so. Like I say, it's been, at this point, you know.
Anything else? Reedway? All set? Sheriff? Like to add anything? Ben?
Nope.
Yes, sir.
Jim Klaus, Hopewell Township. We have Bascom Ambulance District with Loudon Township. We've been a district about 10 years.
98.
Longer than that, ain't it?
98.
Almost 20.
Yeah, 20, been a while. We have our ups and downs. Both gender we're in service about 98% of the time at least. Our biggest problem is daytime. I guess we can see in the future that probably gonna need to go to a paid system. Just because younger generation just doesn't, I don't know if they don't have the time or if they don't want to or what it is, but you just don't have the younger people volunteering like you used to. Basically, we do pretty good. I think we have a really good squad, but who knows how long it'll last.
Are you paying any on-call?
No.
You're not paying?
Oh, yeah, yes, we pay a stipend. We have a levy, we generated about $102,000 a year. Somewhere in there.
Is that just your township, or is that?
That's what,
Both?
Hopewell and Loudon's, our ambulance district has the levy.
Okay.
Townships don't pay anything to it. But that's more than covers it. About every 3 or 4 years, we drop the levy for at least a half a year and then pick it back up again because we generate too much.
Tim, anything more?
Well, we have a JLB, we're just newly formed ambulance district, and we've, we have some people, our problem again is personnel, but we've just had a new class that graduated, so we're starting to add to our group there. I think we've probably got 9, 10, something like that. But I see they're starting to be a little more active, and part of the problem is going to be when we start out like this, that it takes, 6 months to get an EMT certified. And of course, we've been working with first responders. You might want to talk to Marty because he's got some pretty good ideas there too. But it is getting better, and we didn't really expect it to be like Hopewell and the Hopewell Loudon Bascom Fire District right away, just because of the fact that we've got to build our numbers up, and it takes time to build those numbers up. And we do have some people that have to stay on station. But we have a levy that generates about 105,000, and it's Jackson Township, Liberty Township, and the village of Bettsville. But like I said, it's improving. As I've talked with a couple other people, the state of Ohio seems to be up their requirements and expectations, and that puts the volunteer situation a little bit further behind, because you're asking people to be to volunteer their time for a full-time, almost like full-time presence, I think, and it's very difficult. And so we've had, again, I think the coordinators make the difference. They're the ones that can juggle these things around and to make them successful. I know Matt Strasbaugh has been working pretty diligently to try to make things work for us, and so I mean, it's like I said, we're only in this first year of paying our stipend of $3.50, and so it's successful, but it's not fast. Let's put it that way.
Is everybody's stipend similar? Is there a standard? It's all $3.50?
Yes. Can't see. Next.
Kevin Reinhardt, Loudon Township, Basket EMS. I guess I kind of feel the same way Jim does, that, we're doing good now, but volunteer is going to be a problem, every year. You just never know for sure. All of a sudden somebody quits or something, and then you get somebody that's running a lot of hours. Pretty soon you're in a tight spot. So I agree we need to work toward countywide system. How we get to that, I don't know. So that I do agree with that. So that's all I got.
Thank you. Marty.
Yeah, Marty Chambers, Bloomville EMS. Considering the current system we have now, I think it would behoove the board to be patient and let us live out our plan on doing the districts. We're going to be the 5th district formed with Bloomville, Bloom Township, Scipio, and Republic proper. Okay. Forming a district does not resolve the manpower issues. Forming a district does not resolve the training issues. It gives us the tools we need to address all that. And that's a time-consuming thing to do. I've been EMS coordinator for a few years, okay? And up until the last couple of years, there has never, ever been this kind of involvement in EMS. You go across the county, there are several townships that didn't even know that the trustees were responsible for EMS, okay? Our trustees knew it in Bloom Township, but I always tried to not be so much of a burden. We did our own fundraisers. We didn't ask them for a lot of money, Now, with all the state mandates, there's a lot of mandates, and they don't give you funding to meet your mandates. Training has increased, and that's one of the benefits of the EMR program is everybody nowadays is about instant gratification, okay? So to become an EMT, you go, Marty, would you sponsor me for school? We go, yeah. We got 16 weeks of school, okay? And it's a young man, okay? And 16 weeks, does the boss tell him, hey, you need to go to afternoon shift? Well, now he gets knocked out of school, so you lose that guy. Or you lose the $900 you paid for tuition, okay? You can eat the $900, You can't eat the 14 weeks that you lose or 16 weeks that you lose. You gotta start over, okay? By being a district and having some funding, that gives us the way to pick different ways to educate our people. Dr. Fitzpatrick has graciously granted us the ability to run with EMRs if we can. That's a 40-hour class or 44-hour class, and that gets them involved. When you're going to EMT school, you get up, you go to school, you go to work, you go home, you eat, you go back to school, you go to work, you go home and eat, and you never see the inside of the ambulance. You're part of nothing for 16 weeks. The EMR program gets you a little bit of on-the-job training, gets you a little bit of experience, And if you lose that person, you're not losing 14 or 16 weeks of training, and you're not losing $900. So that's our very best recruiting pool. Plus, in Bloom Township and Scipio, the EMRs keep us in service with having the ability to do the transport, because you gotta have 2 medical licenses on board to do the transport. So that's why we're able to stay in service as well as we do. Okay? To change how we educate some people, for instance, when Mr. Elkert was still the director at Sentinel, I went out and talked to him, and this is when he started the public safety program, okay? And originally that discussion was, how about offering EMT classes so that when the kid graduates, he can take the coursework before they're 18. He's gotta be 18 to take the test. He could come out of school, take the test. Then if he worked afternoon shift at Walmart, didn't matter. He'd already have his license. He'd already be a member of the community, and we could utilize him and make him part of our team, okay? The way it is now, they get out of school, you send them to EMT school, and the boss says, well, you're not working today, or you're gonna work extra tomorrow. And once they miss a class or two, they're washed out. So there's a whole lot of things that affect our level of volunteerism. It's not that people don't care, okay? It's not that they don't try. It's just that they try, and sometimes it's real expensive, because when you volunteer a chunk of your wallet, just like any other organization, okay? And we've been like that for years, okay? And now we have a need to change that, and we are addressing that need, and we're being very successful. We're meeting all of that. We have a wonderful working relationship with the county. We've got some of the best equipment. I mean, there's other counties around that will give their right arm to have what you people have provided for us through Kenny, okay? There's many systems around that do, on Blue Mill Squad alone, I don't want to age myself, but we have 179 years of experience, okay? Now, when you go outside and look towards a private provider, you stand a good chance of getting somebody with a lot less experience. I've had 2 of my people, we've got 3 paramedics on the Blue Mill Squad. I've had one move up to paramedic, and I just had the other one move up to intermediate, and he's on his way to paramedic. So when people talk about private services or private providers and we want professionalism, there's nobody any more professional than the system we have right now, okay? And I can go into a lot of stuff that you folks wouldn't even, I mean, that you've not thought about.
Do you have
Standards of
do you have a
care.
levy on now at all?
Pardon?
Do you have any income coming in as part of a levy?
No, sir.
No, there's, okay.
They're just forming their district.
Right.
Okay.
Once we get our district formed and have our board, hopefully we will have, but right now, we're
I
strictly
don't have one, sir,
volunteers.
but you will have one.
No, no.
The leadership at the local level is tantamount to success. Without it, it can't happen. And that's why we're doing that.
So at this point, there's no compensation to anybody at Moville either, or is there a little?
No, the $700 coordinator fee that comes from the county,
Yeah,
stipend
yeah.
there.
That's it.
We split that by pizza.
A lot of pizza.
Yeah.
It's good though. Anyways, I just wanted to reiterate that. If you want a countywide system, the best way to do a countywide system is on the township level. You know, because some things that work, well, us and Republic have worked together for years, very well, okay? Some of the things we do and some of the way things are done, you have a little bit of latitude, doesn't always work 2 townships over. So you need to do what works for your group of people because they're volunteers. You can't manage them with a discipline system, okay? Unless they medically make a mistake, okay? So you have to do it through rewards and recognition, okay? And they're the ones doing the job, so you support the way they want to do it, as long as it's appropriate. So not the same idea works in every venue. So in order to keep everybody operating the best that they can, you need to let that control to the local townships. You know, otherwise everything gets too big and it's all jumped up and you lose what you have. I mean, when we go to take care of an emergency, we take care of the entire emergency, you know? If they need the dog put in the kennel before we take them to the hospital, you know, we have people that do all that, you know? So, and you're not gonna get that anywhere else. Okay, that's my say. Thank you.
I guess we're back here. Kenny, is there anything you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Mark.
Help me.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Mark Mack with New Rigo EMS, and we're going into our third year as an ambulance district. We formed it with Big Spring, Seneca, and Village of New Rigo, and we've got about 20 volunteers. We are paid $3.50 stipend for on-call hours, and we're probably in service 99% of the time, and I can see where the ambulance district has helped the volunteerism. We could use more volunteers, but the ones that were there, it seems to help them volunteer some more hours. But I'm kind of like Marty there. I think that the system we've got seems to be working pretty good. It takes a little while for the ambulance districts to really get the full effect out of them, but I'm really pretty happy with the way we are right now.
How long you been there, Mark?
37 years.
How long have we been there? 38.
Yes. I'm kind of new.
Mary? Nothing? Yes, sir?
Tony Faith, Big Spring Township, MVS. I asked Mark to come here to help reiterate some of the stats. He's been on a long time. He's worked with a good crew. We're very satisfied with the people we got. And just like Marty said, the people, they go to somebody's house, somebody's hurt, people know them. They love the fact that the people that are injured know there's people that are helping them. They're lots more confident that they're going to be taken care of. The system works well. Yeah, we could use some more help. They shift, but the district has helped that, I think, a little bit, and we're still looking for help. And right now, it's working pretty good. We're happy with it.
I'd like to follow, either one of you can answer this, but how do you find the Echo unit? Is that?
I really like it. It's really, especially since it's 24 hours a day, I really appreciate the help.
Okay. That's a benefit to the counties.
Yeah, it's a big help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marty, go ahead.
The Echo unit is, I mean, it's worked beyond what our expectations were. Because there's many times we get to a scene, and I don't know if you're familiar with a lot of the old houses around Bloomville or any of the other communities that's got double switchbacks. No? One, the Echo unit gives us a little bit of horsepower when it gets there. If we need help getting down the steps, out the door, out of the garage, from the barn, out of the field, wherever, it's another bit of manpower, and it's another train of thought sometimes. Sometimes when you have stuff, you know, you gotta have 2 or 3 different ideas before you get to the squad where you need to be. And the Echo unit provides that. Plus, it provides the support if we need. Sometimes you get there and you don't think you need medical level help. By the time you get there and really evaluate it, you do. Okay? Those guys are right there. You know, it's a tremendous asset.
So the headline tomorrow in the newspaper is County Commissioner's Echo Unit exceeds expectations.
That would be very fun.
Got that?
I don't write the headline.
Okay. Help us out here, guys. Yeah, please.
Bill Frankert, Adams
Frank.
Township. Question with the Echo, though. The only time the Echo goes out is if there's a squad in service heading to that direction. Is that correct, Ken? It doesn't go out without a squad being there, correct?
The Echo unit goes out on every call that Seneca County EMS is dispatched to.
But if a squad is not, if they're out of service, does the Echo unit show up there first and start administering, or do they
Yes,
have to?
yes, they do.
They can't transport though.
No, they cannot.
Cannot transport.
Seneca County EMS is a unique system. It's one of the very few that employs the tiered level response like this. And we are never out of service. We have 6 ambulances, 7 if you count the second one that's in Baskin. We cover each other because we are a system. We are in service 100% of the time with a 10.2 average response time from the time of dispatch to the time we arrive on scene. The Echo unit responds to all of those calls, unless they're on another run, which happens. So that's what we do.
So Echo has, just point of clarification, one person in there, you don't have two?
No, I have one person in
Only
there.
have one person in
They
there.
were on scene today at a overdose first for about, I don't know, 2 minutes before the transporting squad got there. They were able to render treatment. The patient was conscious and alert and oriented before they were transported, and that is how it works. It's not a whole lot different than the show Emergency back in 1971. Oh, they had Johnny and Roy. We've got Steve, Bill, and Darren. My other brother. And a single responder is a lot more economical. And there's always 2 coming in the squad and an average of 2 to 4 in the fire truck. So we get 6 to 8 personnel on scene within 10 minutes. There's not a whole lot of single casualty incidents you can't handle with that much manpower.
Denny?
I'm Denny Balker with Clinton Township, and we contract with the city of Tiffin after many years, and are very happy with their services, have a good working relationship with them, and the fire department.
What's the financial impact of that?
For us, it's, anyway, like 2-year contract, it's $27,500 our budget.
And that comes out of the township budget?
Yes.
And that's a bargain, and that's a really good service.
We can't say enough good about it.
No, you never could, but the time and distance there helps you.
Yes, yes.
You're right, they're right next door. Works perfectly.
The fire department.
And they are
goes out
good-looking
with them
fellows,
also.
Right, over there.
Brett Cleveland, Adams Township. All I want to say is when we did this, we never ran volunteers in the ground. We appreciated everything they did. Our problem is I was in office for 10 years and it was a problem, and we could never get enough volunteers to run it. And so we had to do something, and the way we did is we had a private service, and it's so far worked well.
Danny over there, do I see her? Hear her?
No, you don't see me. I'm hiding. And I guess for me, Danny Gaybauer, I run for one of the squads in the county system. So I do have to echo Ken, and I do have to go back 38 years ago. Tim Lynch, I'm pretty sure I've heard this been stated before. The squads that are here have been placed in the areas that they are so we can all cover each other. Therefore, to be out of service 24/7, whatever, is not the case for Seneca County EMS. It's not. And I can prove because Bascom has 2 trucks. Sometimes I can get a second truck covered, maybe not. But, and I thank you for saying that you guys tried and that you guys are happy with your decision. But at the same time, if these guys are happy with the volunteer system, why are we still talking about what's the next? Are we gonna be putting private in? Because after this last meeting, I can tell you, I went back to a station full of people that are like, what are they doing? They throwing us out? So I guess that's the question is,
There was never, Danny, there was never any decision made. No, I mean.
but I think that comes back to how people are perceiving what's being put in the paper.
But you have to, I mean,
I'll throw that out there. Big news.
I don't think we saw any fake news.
Big news. But I'm just saying, you just wish that people would respect others' decisions.
Well, our charge is to explore all the possibilities. And, you know, amongst those are a paid county-wide system. Amongst those are a completely volunteer system, or some hybrid in between, or, you know, hopefully eventually we get to a strategic area when we can pay everybody and there'll be an EMS director. Yeah, Brent.
Brett Cleveland, Adams Township. One other thing, I mean, we asked our volunteers if the 350 would, and they said it would not make a difference, so.
Absolutely. And I can sit down and tell you that we've tried to get our 350 raised for years. Not gonna happen.
But the other thing that we was running into in our situation is Liberty's out of service, Republic's out of service. We got Tiffin and Sandusky County coming in and covering our butts.
Right.
Because they're the next closest. And that took too long.
Right.
So that's.
And that's why I said, and I appreciate you guys coming out and saying that, but at the same time,
And I
38
never,
years ago.
I don't know that we had never said that we always thank the volunteers, but somehow it never got out in the paper that way.
Right.
And
I
that's
mean,
the
we-
thing, because people, it's how you perceive on what
But
you
it's-
read.
But it's like they said, it's a full-time position. It has gotten to be a full-time position, and
And I'll
With-
agree with that, because like I said, I am still very much active, and I hope that I don't go anywhere. Because I'll be the first, I have put in, like Marty said, I have put in out of my pocket additional training. So then I guess we sit down and we talk about paid countywide. What do you mean paid countywide? Are you gonna keep the volunteers and pay them? Or are you looking for brand new people off the street to come in? That's the part that people are seeing right now and saying, are you gonna get rid of me?
Yeah, and you know what? That's part of the process. Is we have an obligation to all the voters of Seneca County to have open meetings.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, one of the things that happens, and I'm a month into this, and I already realize this, that anytime that you brainstorm in public and it gets reported, people read more into that than what. You know, I think that the newspaper's just reporting on us, but you know, they read more into that than is really there. And so, you know, Holly and I stayed out of this meeting to kind of make it a little more comfortable, but ultimately it's decided that it has to be an open meeting. And the point is that you know, as we do fact finding and exploration, you know, we're going to talk about ideas and they're not decisions. And you know, I don't know how we convey that, not just this topic, every time we had the Board of Elections and we're brainstorming up here, and all of a sudden that takes on a life of its own. So, you know, we have an obligation to the press and to our voters to have open meetings, but we have, you know, an obligation to ideas to explore them. And you know, this was great for me because it clearly shows the differences across the county. And when I was campaigning, I found exactly that. Some places, when I walked into Marty's shop, he's like, you know, we're going to do some things. We're great. Leave me alone. And I went to Adams Township, and you know, they put me in a box and shipped me back and told me to go find a solution. You know, so you know, I mean, it's just different. So you know, but we have to explore the ideas, and there is no foregone conclusion with this. But I mean, I appreciate everybody's effort, mental effort tonight, just being here and sharing.
Yeah, the open dialogue helps a great deal. Danny, quite frankly, I never, you know, I don't know because I'm not one of the volunteers out there. So that perspective that they were thinking, does that mean we're all gone and they're just gonna, you know, put out Help One ads or what that means? We don't know what that means. It's just visionary. I think back, was it 2013 or 2014, Ken, when you talked about, you know, what EMS could be or would probably have to be. I don't know if that was 10 years out, 20 years out. We just knew at that point we had 30 plus years in.
That's the thing. That timeline is set by these guys, the township. At the local level, leadership will take this as far as it needs to go, as soon as it needs to get there. We need leadership at the local level to direct the speed and energy, and we need to do what we do, provide what we provide. 90 hours of CEs a year, we let them go to school wherever they want. We've got people in this system that range from 19-year-old, just graduated high school, to emergency room physicians that volunteer for us. You'll never find that level of care in any other EMS system in this state. We need to continue to do what we do and let the local elected officials who have come together as joint ambulance districts decide their speed and the aggressiveness of the timeline. And I think we'd be amiss if we didn't lend an ear to the experience and the credibility of the elected officials we have that are doing this, because it's a big deal. Tim Lynch was one of the original members when we first came together in 1978 to form Seneca County EMS. And to me, it's an honor to have him in the room to discuss this again, because we're 40 years past that and we're ready to do something else. And that's exciting, but I think we need to hold the reins and not let the horse go away. We're getting there. We're making tracks. We're far and away from where we were 3 years ago, almost 4. So it's working. It's working.
I'll just give you a little history lesson on that. And it's going to be short and sweet.
I believe the sweet part.
When they first started this, the county commissioners wanted to do something. I mean, I think they didn't even, I wasn't a trustee at that time, so I don't know how, I don't think they did much, except they did a very, very extensive study of forming a countywide ambulance system. I mean, I can't remember the guy that was on at the time, but he, because I know it was before the blizzard when they were doing all this. But I will tell you this: before that, townships did not have the authority to form an ambulance district. They didn't have they couldn't have an ambulance business. So that's how the fire departments got it, because the fire departments took it upon themselves to start an ambulance service, which they could do, and it went as a fire service, not a ambulance service. And then finally they woke up down in Columbus and they changed the Ohio Revised Code said that townships could get into the ambulance business, and that's when they decided to come out to the fire departments that already had ambulances already. It wasn't like this was just a new thing, and basically substituted their, hearses and ammo wagons and older equipment for this brand new equipment that we now have. Done.
Okay. You were true to your words, short and sweet. Any additional items? Anyone else have anything they'd like to discuss? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you. You can't. What do you do?
Yeah, thanks for writing.
You're with,
I'm with Liberty Township. Coming in now.
Snuck in behind me.
I did.